Upon the Blood Angel's flagship, the Red Tear, Sanguinius spent more and more time indulging in ever more increasingly hedonistic practices, be it in the indulging of fine food, pungent perfume, or other sensory stimuli. The practices began to spread amongst the rest of the Blood Angel's legion, slowly but immeasurably, a creeping corruption slowly changing their outlooks, beliefs, and urges. The angels started to crave more and more extreme sensations. The once beautiful corridors of the ship slowly degraded as the Legion's serfs were forced to decorate the ship's interior with increasingly bright and garish colours and patterns, an affront to anyone with the gift of sight, let alone a sense of taste. The Legion's serfs would notice that when Sanguinius was alone, he would often talk to himself before bursting into fits of sadistic laughter. The voices that emerged from his lips were not only his, but seemingly he had the voice of a seductive woman and the deep baritone of something else, something darker altogether. Those mortals who dared look upon the once beautiful face of the Lord of Angels would begin to cower in fear. His eyes, they were not his eyes anymore. What once shined an icy blue, like the purest and most perfect sapphires ever carved by an expert jeweler, had become a deep violet that seemingly swirled with other shifting colours. Sanguinius sat upon his throne in his chamber and began to think to himself about what other greater pleasures could he and his sons sample. Food and wine were fine enough for mortal men, but for Astartes they required more, much, much more. He ordered his legion apothecaries to concoct stimulants and narcotics for the legionnaires, based upon the formulas that were used by the Xenos his legion had recently purged. But to do that, they would need pure human tissue. And with that, Sanguinius had every legion serf and remembrancer who was deemed as non-vital crew rounded up and slaughtered like livestock. Sanguinius would smile as he ordered the legion's tech marines to make modifications to their power armor, to pump and recycle this substance on a continuous basis, making every Astartes within the legion a slave to self-indulgence. Upon the world of Aelith, the primarchs of the Alpha Legion, Alpharius and his twin, Omegon, met with the alien Cabal. The Cabal explained to them that their brothers had rebelled and fallen under the sway of the Chaos Gods, and that two possible outcomes would emerge from the conflict. If the Emperor's forces won, then Chaos would be pushed back, but eventually return, stronger than before corrupting, enslaving, and wiping out all life in the galaxy after 10,000 years of human suffering. But if Rogel Dawn and his forces won, Chaos would be triumphant for a time, but eventually the human species will be forced into a rapid spiral of self-conflict and extinction so great that the Chaos Gods would never recover. So while damning humanity, all other races will be spared. Alpharius and Omegon's actions would affect the galaxy. The Xenos pleaded with the Primarchs to side with Rogel Dawn. Alpharius clenched his fists and turned to his twin before calmly stating that he was loyal to his father, his Emperor, and would not fall for a pathetic Xenos trick. He ordered his troops to open fire. The heavy rattle of gunfire and explosions of bolt rounds lasted but a few minutes, but long enough to ensure that all but the human perpetuals lay dead or dying upon the stony ground. They apprehended the perpetuals, and Alpharius gathered his troops and ordered them to join up with the loyalists for the Emperor.